Okay. Bam, there it goes. Okay, well, welcome to the September 11th, 2024 Spokane Regional Law and Justice Council meeting. I will start off, as I always do, by opening it up to the public for an opportunity to share or express some of their questions to the council. So greetings, everyone. Today, SRLJC meeting will begin with a public comment period for up to 15 minutes. As a reminder, there's a 3-minute limit per individual. Speakers should address the matters which are within the duties and the powers of the SRLJC. Speakers should also identify themselves and address chair. Council members will not engage in dialogue with you. So if you'd like to comment and have not done so already, send a chat message to the admin assistant and she will give you a speaker number to announce when it's your opportunity to speak. So it will begin now. And Medea, do we have anybody that is expressed either by email, phone, or on this meeting right now that wants to speak?
We do not.
We do not. Okay, hearing once. I'll give it a few minutes and then I would ask again and include it. Okay, Medea, has anybody replied yet that wants to speak?
It looks like we have one.
Okay. Let's go ahead with that one.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, I was
Hi,
trying
Matt.
to figure out the technology here, but my name is Max Kaufman. I'm a managing attorney with Team Child, which is a law firm, nonprofit law firm that works with at-risk youth and youth who are justice involved, ages 12 to 24. We have a Spokane office, and we're looking to build up our collaborations with the community and help support outcomes. And so I'm here with another attorney, our Spokane attorney, and we're here to learn more and listen and see where we can plug in to support y'all's work. So thank you.
Super. I appreciate that so much, Mr. Kaufman. And do leave your phone number for our contact information with Medea so that we can reach out to you. That would be great.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yep, you're welcome. Anyone else, Medea?
Not at this time.
Not at this time. Then I will close the session for public and I'll open the meeting for the approval of the May 15th SRLJC minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
And do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further comment? All right, I'll take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carries forward unanimously, and we'll indicate that on our notes here. So there's quite a bit to talk about. I'll start off with, and most of you all, welcome, Judge Finney. I didn't see that you had joined us.
Point of order.
Director Server, yeah. The July 24th minutes?
Yeah. Did I say May? What did I say?
Well, we did May, but we also have to do July.
Oh.
We did May.
If I would just stick to if I would learn to stick to the script, I'd do so much better. Medea gets me ready and I just don't look at it. So, okay. So do I have a motion to approve the July 24th minutes as well?
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes for July 24th.
Thank you, John. And do I have a second? Do I have a second?
I would second, but I have to abstain since I was absent.
Second. Sorry,
Oh.
I had someone in my office. Second.
Okay.
I was there.
And I now have a second. Any conversation on it?
I have to abstain.
Go ahead. I'll
I
take a
have
vote.
to.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. And all opposed? Okay. Also approved of the July 24th minutes unanimously, and now we'll move on. Thank you for that pointing that out to me. I appreciate it. So I'm gonna have to read from script because we just had a lot going on, and what I'll do is I'll just cover it and then stop and then give you an opportunity to ask questions as we kind of move forward. We'll start off with the capstone. I know the majority of you were involved with talking with JMI and during their visit, and we were talking about the capstone. First off, we were approved, and we were approved for the full amount. The foundation will leave half of the first payment now and the second half based on the following. So what the first half will be is for seed money to get the necessary folks into pretrial services, which is the 2 additional officers, the peer navigator, for us to discuss the supported release program and how it will interact with the pretrial services. And then also a court navigator moving forward with it. So we've got some things that we have to do up front, but in order for them to release the second payment, the MacArthur Foundation has the following bullet points. What will the new structure of the supported release look like in pretrial services? And then how are you going to overcome some of the previous challenges? And these have been introduced to our core team. Our core team is aware of these as well. So we're going to be discussing those. The second bullet point was, what is the demonstrated success of the rideshare program? And produce a budget. If not, produce a budget that reduces the rideshare program and the reallocation of any remaining funds. Indicate a detailed strategy to address racial disparities in the jail. Strategy for advancing community engagement. And then the last part of it is, how will we measure success and what are we going to use as far as reporting out to the MacArthur Foundation? So those 5 bulleted points are a caveat of releasing the money, and they'll release the second portion of the money after we follow up with the report and indicated 5 bullet points, November 30th of 2024. So I'll stop on the capstone. If anybody has any follow-up discussion on that. I'm very thankful that we got it, because I think it's going to be a good opportunity for us to do some good work in pretrial services and under Aaron's leadership, but I think it's going to be beneficial. I also think that we're trying to make the transition as smooth as we can. I know there's always hiccups on the way in, and we expect those. Aaron and I expect those, but we're trying to get it implemented as quickly as we can once we have the money released. I don't have anything from them now. All I have is an acknowledgement they're going to do it. I don't have a letter. I don't have anything as far as that goes. I have talked to Heather Arnold, who is going to be handling our grants on this portion of it. She has reached out to them as well, and nothing has been returned. So we're seeing where the financing is. Why that's so critical is Aaron's got to get the positions announced. He's got to get them hired. I mean, there's a little bit of upfront work that we've got to get done. It's going to take us a while to get those knocked out. Okay, and to follow up that on the JMI visit, we also sat around and discussed, besides the capstone, some of our strategies for community engagement. And so we've had a lot of good information, good talks about how we're going to approach that. And we did have an opportunity to meet with some key individuals in the public and get their feedback on some of the disparities, some of the concepts and ideas that they would like to see out of us. What are our next steps towards redeveloping trust if it's been eroded, and how do we do that? What do we do as far as meetings and outreach? And so there were several good suggestions that were memorialized by JMI. It's a rather long sheet that she's going to share with the core group for us to go through. And then once the core group has gone through it and we've kind of strategized around a plan on how we're going to attack it, then we will come back to the SRLJC and we'll report out on it. There's a lot of good ideas were generated. And I'm not going to name it by name, but there was several good community members that we met with around that. And this kind of falls in that vein that Justin and I have been kind of talking about on and off. How do we get this going? And I was quite honest with them, and my vulnerability with it, and just said, hey, I don't know where to start. I want to know where to start. And so we started by listening. And I think that was a good opportunity for us to get the feedback from them and then have them identify some key venues that we'll have an opportunity to go speak at. All of you, will get an invite to go to those if you want to go speak to them at any one time. But I think it's really about us getting back out and re-engaging with the community and talking about the good things that are going on, and just listening to what has to be said and try to mend some bridges from before. So I think JMI is going to do a good job in leading us with this. They did extend an olive branch. There's some technical assistance that they can offer to help us kind of with the template for doing these type of things for our community. So we're going to take a look at that, and that'll be introduced to the core group as well. And if it's something that they want to move forward with, then we can adopt those kind of things too as well. So that is on the JMI visit. The Crisis Relief and Sobering Center it's a project that we're working on. It's going to be paid for out of the opioid settlement dollars. As it probably indicated, or you saw in the news, or one of the briefs that went out today, it was one of the projects that was discussed in it. So it will be co-located with the mental health stabilization center as right now. It's going to be in that same parking lot. And I think I expressed last meeting, we're going to purchase the whole land so that for future use, if we have any other mental health strategies that we want to do, some of the things that are pre-jail, more therapeutic look at having folks, withdraw and some of those type of things. So we're looking at the whole lot as maybe a multi-purpose lot. But for right now, the Crisis Relief and Sobering Center is going to be a 16-bed, but I believe a 32 recliner, and I can't remember exactly. It's being led by Justin Johnson. He'll be the one that's operating the interior of it. And my responsibility is getting it built and working with the construction company. Justin has got some great ideas for it. Once we launch it, we'll be one of, well, actually we could be the first, depends on when the other ones get theirs up and online in the state of Washington, but we could be the first to get one of these up and running. And so we're pretty excited about it. We have the application submitted to the PRC, which it's a process you have to go through if you go through design build or progressive design build. There's an application that has to be made with the project review committee in Seattle. They issued us a hearing on September the 26th that we're going to take part in. And then we began conversations about the RFQ for the design team for it. So it's moving forward really quickly, and it's pretty aggressive schedule, but we're pretty excited about it. And I don't have a whole lot to say about it at this point, neither by design or by anything else, because I don't have an idea of, exactly how it's going to be designed. But working with Justin Johnson, he's going to help lead that effort to kind of design the interior. As we get them, I'll share it with you all. Design, I'll show you, pictures of it as we get it developed. So another project I'm working on is the Healthcare Authority Reentry Initiative. It's spun off of House Bill 1115. It's about recouping Medicaid dollars. I'm sure that some of you are familiar with that. It gives the opportunity to build back the state for some of the mental health services and some of the sobering and MAT programs that are going on in detention facilities to recoup some of that cost. And so the application was submitted to the state. They accepted it. So Spokane is in cohort 1, and that includes the jail, Geiger, and juvenile. Each of us will receive a portion of that money for each of those facilities. I did meet with the board yesterday. There was some discussion over the contract. Some of the identification language wasn't what the county was used to seeing. So we brought it to the board's attention. We discussed it. It looks as though it's for final review for our legal department, and that we'll have them draft a resolution for next week's legislative session. And then incidentally, we do have a project manager that will be working on it. It's going to be Eric Green. Eric Green was also responsible for the Real-Time Crime Center. Very good at what he does, and we're very lucky to have him on as the PM for this. Thank you, John, for that part of it, John Knowles. Okay, last thing that I need to share with you is the pretrial dashboard, and I'm hoping this works. Can you pull it up, Medea? Now, this is the draft, and this is our ongoing discussion. You're gonna have to click on them because I won't be able to click on my side. But this is the ongoing dashboard. If you scroll down just a little bit, you'll see that that's the detention services. Just go, can you go up? Right there, okay. So you saw the detention services one, that was the dashboard that I shared with you all. One of the promises that we'd made on to MacArthur was through our grants was to have an outward facing dashboards that can inform the public of just how we're doing. I gotta tell you that Aaron, working with Ken Moore and Diane and Aaron Lind, just did a tremendous job on putting this together. It's still in draft form. I'm gonna let Aaron kind of key up his mic so that you can kind of talk through some of the points on here. And remember, this is not the finished product, but this will soon be part of our website as well. So go ahead and click on that first tab for me. Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah, so this is just a breakdown of the work we do. Some of our primary tasks here, taking public defender applications for both felony and misdemeanor, so superior and district court, and then the number of first appearance evaluations we're writing for both courts. I can't see the outcomes. I think so those are the court's release decisions from the first appearance docket. District court only being the DV and DUI cases, because that's our current involvement with district court, but superior court is all the first appearances. And so there's a breakdown there. We're going to fine tune that. Some numbers aren't quite right there, but we'll show a little breakdown of straight OR or monitored release or those being held on bond. So there'll be a nice breakdown of that. So that's the first screen.
Next tab. There you go.
And then we're going to provide some stats on our monitored release, how many are being released to our monitored release caseload, what level of monitoring they're on, whether that's level 3 or 4, how many we're closing out every month, and for what reason. Some folks never report to pretrial services at all and just abscond, and so we keep track of that. And then some folks close out for, adjudication or warrants or various reasons. And then the average number of days that people are on monitored release, we're tracking that as well. So those are some stats for our felony monitored release. And then a breakdown here of our appearance rate and our safety rate. So the chart actually starts at the navy and burnt orange there starts at 50%. So, but it's showing our, I think it's by month there, our monthly appearance rate, and then our monthly safety rate. So that's the absence of a new criminal charge, whether that's arrest or even just citation out in the field. So kind of a monthly breakdown on how we're doing there. So that's that slide. And then we move into our felony diversion program. How many cases are entering diversion on a monthly basis? How many are active currently? How many we're closing every month? The success rate. So that's how many people are actually finishing the program versus people who are being terminated or revoked from their diversion agreement. And then we're also displaying how much restitution we're collecting and how many community service hours are being performed every month. So that's the diversion. And then we'll have a glossary in the back here. We'll work on that, explaining some of the shorthand or even just, all the legal jargon and pretrial buzzwords we have will be fully explained on this page.
Yeah, and then also there will be a description on the front on kind of the role of pretrial services, where they lie, and then contact information. So the same for detention services. So we're excited about this. We hope to have it launched, I'm guessing by the middle of next month, fully, if we can get all the details. I see that optimistic look on your face, Aaron. It's like, yeah, I don't know. But anyway, we're hoping to. And then that will be the second dashboard that will be available on the Regional Law and Justice site. The detention services one should be outward facing now, and all the discussion I had with Ken Moore. So if you have any issues with that, please let me know. I did have an opportunity to share it with Superior Court, And there was a lot of good questions generated out of Superior Court in their meeting. So I'd love an opportunity to come to your to the district court too, Judge, if you want me to, just to talk about that dashboard if you want for district court. So, all right. So those are like the 9 projects I'm working on and kind of the updates on them. So any discussion we want to open up for? Go ahead, Tim.
So, all right, this is great, because now, once we're done with Aaron, at that point, then we could start working on the therapeutic courts dashboard, right? 'Cause I know we got that timeline we're working on. So once we're finished up with the pre-trials, I'm thinking that our next step then will be the therapeutic courts dashboard and information there, right?
That's our goal. And then we'll build a dashboard for all the departments if eventually, it's working out. It's working on the details of what's going to be displayed, getting the data, how do we get the data? IT had to help a little bit on pretrial services because there wasn't as readily available as the digital services data was. But I think that you have a lot of good information for the stepping toward that therapeutic court. So that'll likely be the next one that we'll develop is that one. So it's exciting. It holds true to the blueprint of reform, and what we set out of one of our original projects to do was develop these dashboards. So I'm pretty excited that we're getting some good momentum on them. So anything else? Judge Finney, did you want to share anything about your visit with JMI and some of your thoughts over the core team? Does somebody else? Oh, John, go ahead. I'm sorry. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Okay, just sticking with Tim and the therapeutic court thing. We're moving forward. All the things you talked about, Mike, are wonderful. One of the things I'd like to hear, this is a rhetorical question, but increased budget for support staff for therapeutic courts and pre-trial. And I mean, we got to be hiring some people, and we haven't talked about that too much. So I'd just like to know that all the moves we're making with the sobering center and the crisis center and all that, the courts especially need the support staff to be able to process what I think is going to be an increase of individuals going through the therapeutic court, using the therapeutic court model. And so not necessarily today, but I just want to know about it. What are we doing in order to, money-wise, in order to get in line and support all these projects that you were talking about? So it doesn't have to be answered today. It's just something that's on my mind.
Okay, well, I can tell you that on the internal dashboards, the reason we picked that is because we could do it with existing resources that we have. And generally it's Aaron, it's my project team, it's Ken Moore, Aaron Land, Diane Lindquist, Medea, and then whoever the department head is, John. So that one is relatively easy. As we start moving into some of these other ones, that's going to involve, if we have an increase in the therapeutic courts, and then we need to be meeting with the board, explaining the reasons why, have our presentation ready, sharp. Those are things that we'll have to do eventually when we start moving on these things. But I will tell you that right now, all of our departments, at least for the county, is doing a look at what they have to make sure that, we've tightened our belt for the budget. And so we're heading into the budget season. All of us have made significant progress on, these departments as far as advancing them. So the prosecutors and counsel for defense, along with public defense, and getting their salaries commensurate, at least partially commensurate with what's around them to attract good talent to come in. It's like the jail, it's hard to attract people to come in. I think we're still 26 people down. So it's working on that. It's working on all the things to bring in the necessary staff. And then I think that this has been a good opportunity kind of to de-silo everything. I think everyone is kind of getting, the concept of wrapping their minds around the fact that if you affect one area of the justice system, it impacts another one. It's like if you overstock Tim's area and don't stock in some other area, then it doesn't work. It's like the prosecutors and the public defenders, et cetera, et cetera. So I think slowly but surely, we're starting to get our minds wrapped around what that looks like system-wide. Now, that being said, John, here's the answer to your question. So I've asked JMI to do another SIM model for the county. We have one. It was done 10 years ago, 15 years ago when Jackie Van Wormer was doing this. And that's the sequential intercept model. And if anybody was involved with them, with that project, they know it's a pretty extensive model. And what it does is it lays your system out as a whole and matching up, on ramps, off ramps, what the impacts are. It takes a good evaluation of all of your departments, where it's staffing. And that gives us a better look across the spectrum of what we're looking at as far as the justice system. She wanted to start right away, and I said, I don't want to do anything until January, because if anybody's been involved with these things, they know it takes a lot of time. It's a half a day just to sit down with those to kind of identify some of the steps. So we're looking at that, John, but we're looking at it as a system model so that we're doing it fairly, equally, and not trying to, create more work for someone from having improved another department, like therapeutic courts. What does that do to the entire system? And that's what we're looking at. So,
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Judge, do you have your hand up, husband?
Yeah, and then I was going to answer as for John separately, and certainly we can vet this out in our therapeutic court work group with you, me, and Tim, for example. But for district court specifically, also, our therapeutic court is reliant on some great grants. We were just therapeutic court just got some additional grants. And all 2 grants, and then also the 1/10 of 1%. So we've got some pretty good funds coming in to sustain our therapeutic court, which is really pretty robust, as you and I have sat down and been able to talk about. I can't speak on municipal court or superior court, for example, and or juvenile, but certainly able to vet that out with you as well. But we're looking good. And we just had AOC come through and do a survey and visitation of our therapeutic court to get some additional metrics, data collected, analyzed, and so got some good direction on additional tweaks that could be made as well.
Thank you, Judge.
Yeah.
Judge Finney, did you want to have any remarks on the JMI visit?
Well, I think just as you said, Mike, we are encouraged that we got the full amount, but we also have to recognize that we only get half of that, and we have a lot of work to do between now and November to make sure that the report is robust and complete and justifies the furtherance of the completion of that grant and the second half of the money arriving. And as everyone here knows, we do have a lot of budgetary limitations, but I think, John, you've put your finger on the issue. We believe, I think, that we, through this program, through JMI, through the core group, have recognized that it's not just one. We kind of have to grow them all. We have to make sure that we have full resources and are collecting data that we can actually rely on for therapeutic courts, for pretrial services, for our jail population, what we're doing, what we're seeing, so that we can justify appropriate steps from the Board of County Commissioners with data and with information. And it feels a little bit, in my sense of it, like, gosh, I wish this had been done a long time ago. On the other hand, we are, I think, making great steps moving forward, and better now than never. So we're moving along in the right direction. And then, Aaron, I just wanted to ask, how backward or how far back is the data that you are inputting into your dashboard, so that we can begin to see, instead of a spike up one month and a spike down the next month, a longer span of time to just, so that we can evaluate some of the things that we're seeing?
Yeah, good question. We've talked about that with Diane Lindquist, and I think maybe Mike can correct me, but we've gone back to about 2021, that COVID, that, all the data kind of got skewed around then, but I think right now we're just going back to 2021 currently, and we're looking at ways to maybe be able to display that data on a longer term instead of just yearly, but that's part of the fine tuning. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, and that's working with our IT department too, because like I said, some of it we didn't have readily for information, so we're working through some of the details, Judge. But we thought a logical starting point, and it's the same with the jail dashboard, is post-COVID, and then moving forward from there. So what we're trying to do too is that if we're going to have any measurement or identifiable success, we have to have a baseline. And so that's what we're going to be operating off of this dashboard and working towards a baseline and then measure success moving forward from that. So it's very, very critical part of it. And I know Aaron, I know that Diane is on as well. She's listening in, but she just does tremendous work on this stuff, and she's just a whiz at it. So Sheriff Knowles, did you have anything that you want to say?
No.
Oh, come on. Anything from the community? What are you hearing, Sheriff? I mean, how's it going out there?
I'm sorry, hold on. I've got two guys in my office. What topic are we talking about here?
Just
You guys stop laughing.
do you want me to uncall you from the spot and
No, you put me on the spot. Just tell me.
I just want to know if you had anything that you wanted to share with us as far as how things are going for your department and the community and so forth.
Yeah, I actually do. It's funny. I was out at the West Hills neighborhood on Sunday talking to them about kind of some of the challenges we have as a system, and they're pretty unaware of just how under-resourced the entire system is and how maybe some of the decisions of our state legislature affect jail population on a daily and weekly basis. And I spend a lot of time talking to them about the number of cases that are coming into the criminal justice system as a whole, and the few people we have in prosecution, public defense, and even judges. It was very interesting, that the conversation I had was revolving around the potential of another 2 tents initiative coming up. And I'm being really long-winded here, but you asked, so it's your fault.
Okay.
The reality is, at the end of the day, I said, none of us really want to add a tax burden onto our citizens right now. And to a person, of the 35 people that were there, they said we would rather pay for it and have a safer community than not. So I was really surprised to hear their willingness to entertain a potential tax increase to get the entire criminal justice system fixed. And frankly, I'll tell you guys, I did not say, hey, I need more cops. I just said, no, everything that happens after arrest in Spokane County is broken. It's just broken. Would I love more cops? Sure, I would, but it's not going to make a difference in public safety long term until we fix everything else.
Mm-hmm.
They seem amenable to that.
All right, thank you, Sheriff. Justin, how about from the city perspective?
Well, just as a comment on the dashboards, I would just like to commend all of you for the work that's gone into those. One of the things that I know that has been really a struggle, and Rochelle will touch on that when we talk about our race equity work group, is rebuilding the public trust. And the fact that we're able to publish not just some data, but very robust data, and it's easily accessible to people. I think that really does a lot to build trust, so that they see it's not a black box. This is literally what's going on, and you can see for yourself sort of the whys. It breaks down a lot of the barriers as to why things are happening, why they aren't happening. And I know that JMI that's part of their charge, to help us hopefully build some bridges with the community. And MacArthur has made it very clear, we're not going to get the money if we don't do these things. Mm-hmm. And so this hopefully will assist in that effort. So I just wanted to make that note. And to follow up on what the sheriff is saying on people's understanding of sort of how the struggle is going on with our criminal justice system on the city side. You know, we have an immense issue in our downtown core with homelessness and opioid use. And I think it's sort of dawning on everyone that the criminal justice system cannot fix these issues alone. We are only able probably to do sort of Band-Aid solutions because the issues that are present really started way upstream. While we do need money and we need resources to be able to get our hands around the large problem we have, we also need to be looking at that upstream to try to fix those issues as well as fund us. I'll be honest, our municipal court system is overwhelmed with new cases. With the amount of the drug cases that are now being cited as misdemeanors instead of felonies, huge numbers, as well as all the homeless crisis that we have downtown. So this is really a really important sort of point in our criminal justice system's existence. We have more challenges and very unique challenges. And I do appreciate the fact that when you're looking at the data in Aaron's office, you're looking at what's happened since the pandemic. Since I think we all know that the world is very different, especially in criminal justice since the pandemic. And it's hard to sort of compare apples and apples, and you unfortunately get apples and oranges. So those are just a couple of thoughts, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, and it is not going to be easily solved. But if we don't start someplace, it's just going to get worse.
Yeah. Rochelle, did you have something to follow up with that?
No, not in regards to that subject. We just wanted to give an update at some point for the race equity committee, but that
Go
doesn't.
Go ahead at this point if you guys want to.
Yeah, so for the race equity committee, we met last week, and we have a suggestion, something that we would love to throw out to the group and chat about. We feel a little stuck and a little lost without a chair. We haven't really had a functioning chair for the last, well, since I've been here for the last year or so, but it sounds like a little bit longer. And so we feel like we really can't do the work without a chair to lead it. So we were talking about what could be other solutions then. And we really wanted to focus on the community engagement piece that the MacArthur Capstone Grant requires. And so we wanted to propose that it was either someone is hired or someone is consulted with and is compensated for their time for a community engagement specialist. So someone who is knowledgeable in people that are involved with the criminal justice system, involved with underrepresented populations, specializes in that, is compensated for the work. So again, we were thinking under the grant, could someone be hired to do this as a permanent employee, or could an agency be consulted with and worked as kind of like a contractor for that work? Because yeah, we're really stuck, and we feel kind of like we're spinning our wheels and wasting time a little bit because we really don't have a direction or a leader. So yeah, Justin, I don't know if there's more that you would like to add to that.
Yeah, it is hard to do the work when, our leader is specified as the race equity community member, and that position has been vacant for quite a while now. And so we either need to make, some more aggressive moves to get somebody on board, or we need to have a plan B, and having someone that has experience in the area of community engagement is probably key, because I know, Mike, as you said at the outset of your remarks, that it's such a large issue and it's such a thorny issue, it's hard to figure out where to start. And so I do appreciate that JMI is helping to facilitate things when they're here, but the problem is that they're only here on site visits a couple times a year, and this has to be an ongoing process.
Yeah.
So just just so you know, I had a good conversation with JMI about this because I share your feelings. And one of the entities that she had thrown out was Gwen Wright from the National Association of Counties as a person who's being an expert in that field, kind of technical assistance, and the opportunity for us to have a micro grant wrapped around justice, community engagement, racial inequity, and just to look at the broader picture. There was a lot of expression by tribal members on including them in these conversations and what does that look like and how do we foster those conversations. So I share your opinion, Rochelle and Justin. I think it's time to bring in someone to help us and to get this thing really going. And so one of the things that I have asked JMI to do is consider a micro grant or working under that to identify someone in to come in and help us. So.
Awesome. That's awesome. Thank you. Look at that. It sounds like we're all on the same page then. And two agencies that we were brainstorming that if the first step is to do like consultant or contract work versus like a permanent like employee kind of under your umbrella is Revive and then Health Justice Recovery Alliance, who really in the community specializes in the work, but again, compensating someone for that time, especially if the goal of the chair is to hire or to have someone as a person of color in that position and, then being trauma informed with that, ensuring folks are compensated for their race equity work and knowledge. So cool. That sounds good. Is there anything then that you need from us, from like our subcommittee at the moment then to help like support that and move that idea forward?
Well, just from the JMI standpoint, I'm just going to lead them in your direction. Of course, I'll be involved the whole way for, the micro grant and setting all that up. But it really, if you all could take the lead once I get a consultant and have JMI locate us a consultant, then that would be great.
Okay.
And then, because then it's a project you guys are rolling off. It's like the dashboard and what have you, but we're all going to be involved. It's going to be a larger discussion, particularly at the core group. And so I think it's a very necessary step. And I'm glad that we are thinking the same because anytime that we can bring somebody in, many hands makes light work. And so I'd really like to have somebody come in and help us out with this and get us going on it the right track. So
Awesome.
I will let JMI know, Justin and Rochelle, that that you two will be primarily the ones that they're working with and that we're going to try to kick off this effort and get it going for the SRLJC. Okay. Good. Anything else?
I
Okay.
think the sheriff has his hand up.
Oh, Sheriff, I'm sorry.
Well, one thing I was going to bring up to the group is that there's been some really kind of interesting conversations going in other areas of the community. I don't know, have you guys ever heard of Three Bears Consulting? I think there might be a couple people in here who've heard about them, but they're actually been contracted by the Race Redeem Foundation to come up here to Spokane and do an assessment of our substance use treatment, not just facilities, but programs and assess where we have gaps in the services we provide for both mental health and substance use treatment disorder. And I think that could be some very, very useful information to this group when they do the assessment, particularly when we start talking about how we may be diverting people from arrest, diverting people out of the court system and things like that. I think it's going to be nice to see an outside entity give us a picture of where we're falling down and how we can get better.
That's great. That's good news. So when are they coming up to do these evaluations?
I think they might be up here now. I know it's sometime this month. And they did a similar program down in San Antonio. It's kind of where they cut their teeth, and they run a pretty good system and program down there.
It'd be great if they are going to do kind of a report out or kind of a presentation at the conclusion of it, John. Yeah, we could include it here for the SRLJC. That would be
absolutely.
That'd be amazing. So
yeah. So stand by on that. That's pretty good news, I think.
Okay, roger that.
I mean, I have found that our behavioral health system is one of the most dizzying and confusing systems ever designed.
And you
And
can start with the information sharing and spend a year on that.
Yeah.
I mean, the lack of information flow going back from first responders, and I understand all the, all the legal matters, I guess, that come along with that, but just the information sharing and having it, the continuity of the first responder to the crisis relief center, to the jail, to the, everybody knows, that they've got this person. And just looking at that as a year conversation, I mean, but I'm excited for it.
And Sheriff, can you share again the name of the organization? Is it Three Bears Consulting?
Yeah, that's what I think it is.
And who's covering the expense of them doing this work?
The Race Review Foundation.
Awesome. Thank you.
Nice, yeah. Good. Okay, we have about 10 minutes. I know we just went through a ton of stuff here. We covered the dashboard. Therapeutic courts, did you want to touch any more on it, Judge Fassbender, or do you think you got it pretty much nailed down? And I think goes to the 3 projects, right?
And I think, yeah, we still need to reestablish another meeting, but otherwise, I think that's about where we're at for now.
Okay, and I think you'll be a lot more engaged too, we had with the dashboard, and that way you can help, and I'm just hoping Judge Smith comes along and helps out as well, so that'd be
Yeah,
great.
he's always welcome to, come and speak if needed. I'm just the pass-through voice for him on some of these things.
Okay, anything else for the good of the cause? Good meeting, you guys. A lot shared here, a lot going on, so it's all in the follow through, so be expecting to hear back from the core group on some of the strategy we develop around it and involvement of the SRLJC with some of those functions, so. Okay, if there's nothing else, Max, thank you for joining today and wanting to be a part of it. I hope that you got a kind of an understanding of what the SRLJC is about, and your continued support would be fantastic, so. Okay, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thanks, bye.